Welcome to our Daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading on September 5th, 2018. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. As usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our economic calendar here. So Australia, we had the rate statement. It stayed the same as was expected. And other than that, we had manufacturing PMI numbers that came in positive. Coming up here, we have GDP numbers out of Australia. And if it is negative, that will have a negative impact. If it's like lower than this projected value, it will have a negative impact on Australian dollar here. And other than that, we have tomorrow coming up, services PMI number. This will be important for British pound here. And we also have PMI numbers out of the Eurozone. Trade balance number here for Canada will be important. And part of the problem here is the NAFTA agreements or negotiations that are going on right now. NAFTA agreement has not been reached at this point. That is kind of adding to the woes of Canadian dollar. And if the trade balance number comes out negative, it will have an even more negative impact on Canada. And Bank of Canada at this point, not expecting it to raise rates, especially with NAFTA negotiations going on and the results not looking so good. I do not expect Bank of Canada to really be in a position to raise rates at this point. And then we also have a trade balance number for Australia. So commodity currencies here, it's a big day for commodity currencies, I should say. And then just the PMI numbers for British pound. So let's move on to the charts here. We'll start off with our Euro US dollar here. So we have seen Euro drop. So we were looking for this drop. We had a nice drop, a bit of a pullback, and then drop again, came into the previous support resistance area and has pushed off of that level now. So now we have a pin in the bottom, which is a little bit concerning because this is not a very solid bearish candle. We are into support. As we can see, we have a pin in the bottom here. So this is what this candle looks like at the moment. What this means is that there's still bearishness in this candle, but all I'm looking for right now would be a retest of this candle. Had we gotten a solid candle close here, then I would have been looking for a follow through to the downside. So right now my bias is bearish. However, I think we could run into a problem right here. So that would be a concern. And so right now I'm looking for it to drop. 1.1530 will be the target to the downside. And if we see price go through it, then I'm looking for price to go back lower into 1.1420 level. But if price only comes into 1.1530 level, there is a likelihood that it could get bounce, or it could bounce off of that level, just like it did previously right over here. So that's something to keep in mind. My bias is to the downside for euro dollar. Pound dollar here, we have a bit of a pin here. We see that price is into support, and that's kind of similar to what we have with our euro dollar here as well. So price is into this previous support. We have a pin out of that. There is still, we have bearish volume here, but overall, I would be concerned with this pin in the bottom here. So I'm not seeing this as a bullish signal just yet. I am still bearish on this. Basically, I'm looking for a retest of that level. And if it bounces, then we are, then we could see a drop there. Sorry, I got a little caught up in reading the comment. Okay, so I'm looking for price to drop, but if it gets stuck at the support here, we can see bounce off of that level and it can go back into this 1.2940 level. But bias is to the downside and looking for price to drop here. So if price goes through this level, then I will look for it to continue to the downside. Bias is still bearish. just a caution would be 1.2800 level. Aussie dollar here. Aussie dollar, we saw a drop, a nice bearish engulfing candle closed here, close on this one. So bias is to the downside. So now in terms of our next levels here, we are into support. So this is the support that we are in right now. And last two times price was here, it did bounce off of this level. So that's something to be mindful of. Bias is still to the downside. And the next target here would be 0.7100 level. So bias is to the downside, but because we are coming into the support here, I would be cautious with this one as well. So basically looking for a bit of a pullback here and then a drop to the downside. So if we get a pullback either into 7,200, 0.7200 level or 0.7220 level, and then a drop to the downside. So bias is bearish for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar, this one is looking bearish here. Looks like it's forming a bearish flag formation here. And should we see a break of this level, I would look for a further drop here. So this one, nice bearish engulfing candle close here, or bearish candle close right into the support. But again, we are into support. So that's something to be mindful of. We are in the support which goes all the way back into February of 2016. So we haven't seen this type of weakness in some time. My overall bias is still remains to the downside. Next target is 0.6500 for this. And further down, we have 0.6450 level to the downside. So bias is bearish. And like I said, it looks like we're forming a flag formation to the bearish flag formation to the downside. And once price holds below this level, I will look for a drop. So the type of move that I'm looking for out of this one would be something like drop, a pullback, and then a further drop to the downside. 0.6500 and then 6450 will be the next target to the downside. So bearish bias for New Zealand dollar. Dollar CAD here, this is the opposite. US dollar is currently experiencing problems, especially with NAFTA negotiations not going so well. Right now, we have a big bullish candle close here. So this is looking bullish, but we are into resistance here. So just be mindful of that we could either get a pullback or price could bounce off of this level. But overall, bias is bullish. And once it clears the high here, next target is 1.3280. So my bias is to the upside for this, but do look for a pullback. There is opportunity for this to pull back. 1.3120 seems like a good level for a pullback. Overall bias is to the upside, and the target is 1.3280 for dollar CAD. Euro pound here, this one is a little neutral here. So we had a big drop, a pullback, and now it looks like it could drop again here. So is neutral to bearish here. So I think it could drop here, but this is not my favorite pair here today because it's kind of in no man's land at this point. It is holding here, holding this support resistance level. It's holding below it. As long as it holds below 0.9020 level, then chances are it is going to drop. And the next target for this one will be the bottom of this bullish candle here, 0.8960 level to the downside. So bias is neutral to bearish for Euro pound. Euro Swiss franc here. This one we saw a bounce off of the bottom here. We had talked about this, how price was right into support. So now we've seen a bullish candle close here. It's bullish engulfs this previous candle. So I will look for price to go higher here. The first target would be a 1.3120 level. And then beyond that, we are looking at 1.1360 level back into this previous support resistance level. But what could happen with this one is we could just get a bullish move into this previous support resistance level and then we could see a drop from there. So do be mindful of that. Right now, it seems like we are into some important support resistance levels. So keep that in mind. But I'm looking for a move up into 1.1320 level. And if it goes beyond that, 1.1360 level to the upside. Pound Swiss franc here, this one also we have a bullish engulfing candle close here. So looking for price to go up further. Target here 1.2580 level. So this is also looking bullish. But again, we are into support resistance level here. So if it does not break the high, then it could drop further because overall bias here is to the downside. So there is a reason to be cautious. Dollar Swiss franc, this is looking quite bullish, looking for price to move higher. 0.9784 level would be the next target and potentially into 0.9800. So bias is bullish for dollar Swiss franc. Pound yen here, this one looks bullish at the moment. We could see price go up higher into this pin, which is a nice support resistance level here. 143.80 will be the next target, and we could also go 144.40 level, so it could pull back higher. So right now bias is bullish, and first target is a 143.80. Euro yen looking bullish here as well. We have a bullish pin bar, so looking for price to go up. Target here is a 129.80 level to the upside. So bullish bias for Euro yen. Dollar yen here, this one is looking bullish as well. And for this, the next target would be 111.80 level. So bias is bullish, and beyond that, 112.20 level will be the second target. So bullish bias for dollar yen. This one here, Aussie yen, we have a neutral candle close, prices into support going sideways here. So we have to wait and see where price wants to go next. At this point, I'm not really looking to take preemptive action here. So the couple of scenarios that I could see are, one, it goes into this 80-50 level and then bounces off of that level and then goes and tests the bottom and then drops further. That will be kind of my base case scenario here. So I'm looking for price to retest this previous support resistance level at 80.50. And then if it stays below, I would look for price to drop here. But because we are into support, it could go higher as well, all the way into 81.00 level. So that would be Aussie yen. But if the GDP numbers come out negative for Australian dollar, this could just drop from here. In that case, we may not even get the pullback all the way up. We may just get the pullback to 80.20 and then it drops. So with this one, because there's red news coming up, we have to be careful. New Zealand yen, this one is looking bearish here. New Zealand dollar has been the weakest of or one of the weakest currencies in the majors here. So New Zealand yen looking bearish. There is room to the downside for this one. So 72.40 will be the target to the downside. So bearish bias for New Zealand yen. CAD yen here, this one, CAD has not been very bullish. So we have a bearish candle close with all the different problems going on with Canadian dollar. So bias is to the downside. I'm looking for a retest of 84.20. And if it breaks that, there is room to the downside. 83.60 will be the target to the downside then. So right now, just looking for price to come and test the bottom and then potentially into 83.60. So bias is to the downside for CAD yen. Euro CAD, this one is looking bullish. Yesterday, this was bullish as well. So another bullish candle close, looking for price to go up higher here. 1.5320 will be the target to the upside. So with this one, if Canadian dollar pulls back, so this one could pull back here as well. 1.5220 is a good level for a pullback, and then a move up higher. So something like this. and looking for price to go into 1.5320. So bias is bullish for Euro CAD. Okay, pound CAD here, this is looking bullish as well. And next target here would be 1. So targeting the high of the pin here, 69.90, and then above that 1.7050. So pound CAD looking bullish at the moment. Euro CAD, this one is into resistance. So we see price all the way up there into 1.6180 level. We do have a bullish candle close, so I would look for a test of the high at 1.6180. And now we are kind of into an important support resistance level, because as we can see, we have not been here since the March of 2018. So this is an important support resistance area. So the bias is still bullish, and the only way I would want to take a trade above that would be if it breaks, pulls back, and then goes or holds above. So first target 1.6180, second target 1.6250 level to the upside. So bias is bullish for now, but be mindful of the important support resistance level there. Pound Aussie, this one is looking bullish, and the next target would be 1.7980 level, which is this support resistance level. So bias is bullish for Pound Aussie for tonight. Pound New Zealand, this is looking bullish as well. Big bullish engulfing candle close here. We are into resistance, but this one is looking bullish. 1.9700 will be the target to the upside. Euro New Zealand looking bullish as well. We broke through the resistance here, another bullish candle close, and that is looking bullish. And next target, we have to go all the way back to find our targets here. 1.7780 will be the target to the upside for Euro New Zealand. So bias is bullish for that. Okay, so let's take a quick peek at gold here. Gold looking bearish, nice bearish candle close here. Next target would be 1180, so 1180 level. And if it breaks below this one, then we'd be looking at the further target to the downside, and the next one will be 1173. So overall bias is still to the downside and looking for price to drop further. So bearish bias for gold. And in terms of our oil is showing a big pin bar to the downside here. So this looks bearish. It did go and test this previous support resistance level, did go through it and go into testing the next pin right over there. So bearish bias here, looking for it to drop further, and target would be 68.00. So bias is bearish for oil. And let's see what Bitcoin is doing today. Bitcoin holding above this resistance. So right now maintaining that bullishness, but small moves comparatively. So next target will be to the upside, and 75.66 would be the target. So bullish bias for Bitcoin right now. Question here is, looks like oil is giving an indication for CAD. Yes, so Canadian dollar is not looking so good right now, because one, oil daily candle close is now very positive, and then NAFTA negotiations, there is trouble in that category as well. So both of those things are negative for Canadian dollar. So that's why Canadian dollar is taking a hit. US dollar has been strong as well. which is another thing against the Canadian dollar. So dollar CAD has taken a hit. That's why dollar CAD has gone up as much as it has. So yes, overall things not looking so good for Canadian dollar. So it could go up further. Now, only thing I would keep in mind will be what Bank of Canada has to say. So if they are still positive about the economy, if they're not too worried about NAFTA negotiations, all those things will play a role in that. Not looking for an interest rate hike, but these things do play a part. The comments make a difference. All right, any questions before we wrap it up? Okay, so let's see if we can pull up the dollar index here. Okay, so dollar index, we came into support here and it's looking bullish at the moment. And this is where, so we are into resistance from daily perspective. So actually, let's go back a bit and go into a weekly view here. So weekly view, we had pin bar here. So this from the weekly perspective, this is looking bullish. So bullish from weekly perspective, going back to a daily now. Daily, we are into resistance. And as we can see, there was this large pin on the top, which we saw the opposite of on our euro dollar and pound dollar. So that kind of gives us an indication of why those two crosses pulled back, because dollar index pulled back here. So at this point, there is still bullishness in it. I will look for a retest of 95.70 here. And if it goes higher, then 96.39 or 96.20 area. So question, or the thing to pay attention to here would be if price does not break through, because we are into resistance here. So where my cross here is, that's our support resistance level. If it does not break through that, then just like it did here, we could see another drop. So that's the only thing that I'd be cautious about. This is where we were seeing price was into support resistance into many of the crosses there, US dollar crosses. And this is why, so we're seeing a similar story on the US dollar index as well. So for bullishness to continue in the US dollar, we do need to see a break above the high here for it to continue further. Otherwise, it could just drop from here like it did previously here. It could just do this. So, so we'll have to keep that in mind. Right now, this looks kind of neutral. So we just have to wait and see which way it closes. But from weekly perspective, it is looking bullish. And even from daily, there is bullishness to it. But the pin is what I would be concerned about. Any other questions? So, Eamon, the question, I'm not sure if we don't need any trades. Are you saying we don't need any, or did we get any? So I did, we took a trade this morning and, oh, from Trump's, okay. Sorry, I thought you were talking about trade alerts. I did send out a trade alert this morning. We took a trade that was a positive trade. But yes, we don't need any tweets from President Trump, because that does tend to play out for the US dollar. So, all right, so we'll wrap it up here. Have a wonderful evening, and I will see you in the trade room tomorrow. Bye for now.